If you're fascinated by the ingenuity of early humans, understanding how they mastered the cold is essential. From icy plains to freezing caves, our ancestors relied on more than just luck to survive harsh climates. They developed techniques rooted in physics, observation, and practicality, techniques that remain relevant for modern survivalists and history enthusiasts. If you enjoy content that dives deep into practical history, subscribe to Warfield Prepper Chronicles, like this video, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Now, let's explore how early humans turned their bodies and clothing into survival tools. They used body heat strategically in groups. Early humans quickly realized that collective warmth was far more effective than individual efforts. By huddling together, they could conserve the heat generated by each body, creating a shared microclimate. This wasn't random. Spacing and positioning mattered. In tight sleeping circles, individuals rotated to ensure everyone stayed warm. For modern applications, this principle can be applied during cold weather camping or emergencies. Even without high-tech sleeping bags, grouping with others in enclosed spaces drastically reduces heat loss and preserves energy for critical tasks. Layering clothing to trap warmth was a deliberate technique. Early humans didn't just wear one heavy hide. They layered clothing to trap air between garments, which acted as insulation. They used animal skins, furs, and plant fibers in multiple layers, understanding that loose-fitting layers were better at retaining heat than tight ones. Modern preppers can apply this by wearing a base layer that wicks moisture, a middle layer that insulates, and an outer layer that shields from wind and moisture. This simple concept, perfected thousands of years ago, remains the foundation of all effective cold weather clothing systems. They used animal fat and natural oils to enhance insulation. Our ancestors discovered that coating skins with animal fat or natural oils added an extra barrier against wind and moisture. This technique served a dual purpose: waterproofing and increasing thermal retention. Practically, this is replicable today by using beeswax or modern natural oils on outer garments in survival situations, especially when caught without synthetic options. It's a direct continuation of strategies developed by early humans, optimized for the materials at hand. They adapted body positioning to maximize retained heat. Early humans didn't just wear clothing, they used their bodies intelligently. Curling into a fetal position, tucking extremities close to the torso, and minimizing surface area exposed to the cold were deliberate actions. In caves, they positioned themselves near heat sources, such as fires or insulated areas, while using natural formations as windbreaks. For modern enthusiasts, understanding heat retention positions can improve efficiency when using sleeping bags or shelters. It's about reducing heat loss through posture as much as through clothing or fire. They use clothing to regulate moisture and prevent freezing. Clothing was also functional in managing sweat and moisture. Early humans layered garments in a way that prevented wet layers from staying against the skin, which would otherwise accelerate heat loss. Air gaps between layers allowed moisture to evaporate without compromising warmth. Today, this is the principle behind base layers and breathable insulation. Even in survival situations, ensuring clothing stays dry can mean the difference between staying warm and succumbing to hypothermia. They integrated natural materials into clothing for specific climates. Different climates required specific approaches. In Arctic regions, thick furs with dense undercoats were standard, while in temperate zones, lighter hides combined with plant fibers were enough to maintain warmth. Early humans selected materials not only for availability, but for thermal efficiency, durability, and versatility. Modern preppers can emulate this by choosing clothing materials that match the environment. Wool for wet conditions, down for extreme cold, and synthetic layers when weight and compressibility matter. They combined shelter and clothing to create micro-environments. Clothing alone wasn't enough. Early humans combined their layered garments with insulated shelters. Caves, snow walls, and debris huts worked in tandem with clothing to trap heat and reduce exposure. Understanding this synergy is critical for modern survival. For example, combining a well-layered clothing system with a lean-to or snow shelter multiplies the effectiveness of each, allowing you to maintain warmth without relying solely on fire or modern gear. They maintained and optimized clothing continuously. Early humans didn't just wear clothing, they maintained it. Skins were cleaned, dried and repaired regularly. They removed damp layers and replaced them with dry ones, understanding that insulation was useless if garments were wet or damaged. Modern preppers can take the same approach by keeping spare layers dry, patching worn garments and rotating clothing to prevent moisture buildup, ensuring the system functions effectively at all times. Mastering these ancient techniques provides a blueprint for survival and a deeper appreciation of early human ingenuity. Layering, body positioning, group strategies and material selection were all deliberate actions that allowed humans to endure climates that would otherwise be fatal. Applying these lessons today enhances both practical survival skills and historical understanding, bridging the gap between past and present. If you found this guide valuable, make sure to subscribe to Warfield Prepper Chronicles, like this video, and leave a comment sharing your insights or experiences. Share it with fellow history enthusiasts and survivalists so more people can learn how our ancestors mastered the cold, and how we can apply those same techniques today.